Hello everybody, I'm Lee Asher, the president of 52 Plus Joker, and welcome to our playing card weekend. For the next few hours, you'll experience excellent talks, a show and tell, a new playing card game show, and a tailgate party, all culminating in the 2021 Diamond Awards. And tomorrow, the big auction. I hope you'll agree, it's a fantastic weekend to be a playing card collector. But before we start, there are a few new faces in the room. Hello, welcome. So let's quickly go through some house rules. At times today, we won't be able to see or hear you. So that means there'll be no way we know if you like or dislike what's going on. So to show your affection, please express yourself in the chat area. You want to applaud? We ask that you type a string of ones into the chat. Go ahead and try. That way we know you're having a good time. Now, if you're an existing member of 52 Plus Joker, we thank you for showing your support at our events. Isn't it the best $25 you spend all year? If you're not a member of 52 Plus Joker, you should think about joining us. It's only $25 and we're going to drop a link in the chat. If you like what you see today, we'd love for you to be part of the club. One final thought before we begin. Some notable people helped make this day possible. And while you probably give me all the credit because I'm the face you see, the truth is there's a powerhouse team behind the scenes making everything look effortless. They deserve all the credit here. So let's take a moment and recognize them. Show your appreciation with some ones for Brian Sarlo, Steve Bowling, Judy Dawson, Larry Harold, Harry Wastrack, Dave Hoffmeister, Don Boyer, Jennifer Dawson, Ender's Game, and finally Keith Brown. Thanks to each one of you. Your hard work and efforts make fun weekends like this a great success. These ones are all for you. All right, it's time. Let's begin. An accomplished playing card designer, Stacey Jay Kelly welcomes us inside her fascinating world. She's here today to share her passion and imagination that goes into her unique and amazing artwork. She'll also discuss her participation with the Worshipful company of playing card makers. That's a big deal. Plaster those ones in the chat as we welcome Stacey Jay Kelly.
Hi, I'm Stacey Jay Kelly, designer and illustrator based in the northwest of England. I'm the founder of Squid Link and I create playing cards and board games. One day long ago, I discovered a deck of steampunk bicycle playing cards. I didn't expect to play with them much. I had 99p decks lying around the house which I had not really paid that much attention to, but when I got home and unwrapped this deck, this tattered, dog-eared, worn out deck. The only deck in my collection that looks like this, by the way. I've been taking much better care of my decks ever since. But when I unwrapped this deck, I had an epiphany. The way the actual cards felt in my hand as I handled the deck, it completely blew me away. I realized that playing cards could be a luxurious item. I think I decided straight away that I was going to be a playing card designer. This particular bicycle deck, it was pretty standard in terms of its card faces. So it always makes me smile to think that it wasn't any single playing card design that inspired me to start making cards. It was the textural quality of well-made stock. So when it came to building my first deck back in 2014, I had no idea what theme I would use, but it didn't matter. I was going to be a playing card designer, so this was just the first theme of many, I told myself. I began riffing on ideas, space, history, animals. Animals are good. I'll choose fish. People like fishing. I set about designing the deck by building an ornate frame for each card, very dark background on the card faces, very dark card backs, illustrated fish on each face ranging from the tiny little sticklebacks on the twos all the way to the Wells catfish on the kings. I decided I was going to call this deck Fishing for Compliments, and I was going to use Kickstarter to fund its creation. After doing some research, I discovered the United Cardists Forum, and after months of busy work putting the card drafts together, I was excited to present these to some playing card experts. I had no knowledge of playing cards or their rich history, nor any understanding of the importance of indices and layouts and mirroring design. So after proudly posting Fishing for Compliments on the forum, the only thing I caught that day was criticism. My fonts were all over the place, my indices were horizontal across the top of the card, It was unplayable, but even for a total newcomer, forum members went above and beyond with feedback, helping me to tweak this project so that it was suitable for actual card games. I realised very quickly that I had pretty much stumbled my way into an extraordinary community, and I very much owed the success of my initial campaign to the United Cardist Playing Card Forum. For on December the 13th of 2014, my Fishing for Compliments deck reached its Kickstarter goal. This deck used a pearlescent tuckstock with waves encased in an Art Deco style frame on the front. The back has a small intro to me and my former business name, Pixel Initiative, which is now rebranded to Squidlink. I dealt with my issue of horizontal indices by placing this small amount of filigree beside the pips in the corner. And the aces depict fishing hook designs. The card backs are purple with reversible fishbone designs. And my personal favourite is the Joker with the dirty old boot on the fishing hook. I worked with the amazing Lawrence Sullivan from Legends Playing Card Company for this project. I was thrilled with the final product, and immediately I began working on my next deck. A Polynesian style deck using more traditional layouts of pips and royal courts. Well, I say traditional, they are still pretty wacky. However, the act of using true court cards depicting kings and queens, it only pulled me deeper into the world of playing card lore. Learning about one-eyed jacks and suicide kings with no mustaches, the ace of spades with the link to the Vietnam War. I worked hard to put together a colourful poppy deck, and I decided to just have some fun with it. The design used for the jokers also feature on the back of the pack. I created two colourways in purple and red pearlescent tuckstock. The aces are a combination of all pips in various colours shaped into the ace design. There is a small Polynesian mask in each of the smaller pip designs. The court cards are very playful with the kings blowing bubbles and very unusual character designs. As I reached the final stages of the design and began prep for my next Kickstarter campaign, Lawrence reached out to me and asked if he could use this deck as a Legends branded deck. I was just thrilled. This meant no grueling Kickstarter campaign, and my cards would just reach the shelves under the wing of the well-respected LPCC. So this involves one last update to the design work, a rework of the Legends logo and the Legends sticker seal, incorporating the whimsical details seen throughout this deck. So I was riffing with new ideas for my next project when I received a rather curious email. This email was signed Clerk to the Company of the Worshipful Company of Makers of Playing Cards, which I would go on to discover was the livery company for playing cards in the City of London, one of the early trade guilds founded by a charter granted by King Charles I in 1628. This company installs a master each year, whose role involves the creation of a bespoke pack of themed playing cards. These are used to generate funds for various charities and handed out at the Master's installation banquet. They were looking for a new designer, and to my delight, the company clerk had reached out to me. I have created the annual deck for this playing card guild for the last 6 years now, and it's been a real pleasure to work on them, not only for the interesting design opportunities, but also how interesting the themes are. Each year we basically create a small encyclopedia of a specific subject in the form of a twin playing card deck. Generally a commemoration of some significant anniversary. The packages for these decks are really lovely with gold gilt edges and velvet lined boxes. We pay homage to the historical tax wrappers used on the playing cards in Old England, which would show the 3p duty had been paid on the items. In 2017, for my first deck with this company, we created the commemorative deck celebrating the 150th anniversary of Joseph Lister's publication about antisepsis. This is crucial work that saved many lives. This deck has a deep navy faux leather and gold embossed crest. The tax wrapper bears the image of 2 shillings and reads, "Yield and pay to the king the sum of 2 shillings of lawful English money for and upon every single gross of playing cards." The cards have gold gilt edges and a portrait of Joseph Lister on the card backs. In this deck, we decided to look at the royal garments from the era of this publication. and pair those with the illustrated faces of Nobel Prize winners and notable figures in the world of antisepsis. This was a fun and challenging illustration job. The Jokers depict various infections transmitted through open wounds such as MRSA, C. difficile, CPE and necrotizing fasciitis, in microscopic detail luckily, nothing too gory. But each year the Master has bespoke pips built for their project, and together we think very deeply about how the intricate details of the decks can represent the theme. The following year, we created a commemorative deck for the 50th anniversary of the first successfully manned lunar mission. The box is black faux leather with a silver embossed crest, and the cards are silver gilt edges with a portrait of Neil Armstrong. We decided to create a very steely coloured deck with portraits of various astronauts from across the globe and equipment used for space exploration. In 2019, I worked with the Master to create a commemorative deck for the 80th anniversary of the Battle of Britain. The box is blue faux leather with gold embossed crest, and the cards have golden gilt edges. The card backs show the pilots' portraits framed with the beautiful RAF gold insignia detail. The court cards depicted jets like Spitfires and Bristol Beaufighters, and notable figures during this battle such as Churchill and Trafford Leigh-Mallory. The aces depict pilots who were aptly named the Flying Aces. Once this year's deck was almost ready for release, the pandemic struck, and the Master decided to instruct me to create a COVID-19 deck of cards. This pack was a huge success and raised over £15,000 for various local charities. I believe there is a copy of this now in the London Science Museum. I custom built the detailed card backs using DNA strands and the staff of Hermes surrounding a molecular image of the dreaded COVID cells. I decided to depict the amazing NHS staff in their medical uniforms wearing masks and visors. The Joker is my own custom illustrated Joker design, shown keeping his COVID-safe 2-meter distance from his mirrored image. In 2020, I worked with the new Master to create a pack commemorating the opening of the Royal Exchange in London. I decided to incorporate the details from the wrought iron gates created for the Royal Exchange building throughout the pack. The box is a red faux leather with gold embossed crest, and in this deck we toured the City of London, and I created illustrations of the historical buildings in this area for the Kings, such as the Bank of England and Billingsgate Market. I illustrated various modern buildings from this area for the Queens, and I created illustrations of architects relating to these amazing buildings for the Jacks. The Royal Exchange building can be seen on the card backs. The last deck I built was for the amazingly knowledgeable playing card collector and current Master Paul Bostock. He chose the BBC Centennial as his theme, and we used a vintage television screen for the box sleeve with a clip of a newscaster using the incredible Marconi microphone invented by the BBC. The box is blue faux leather with a silver embossed crest. The aces depict Master Paul Bostock, the playing card enthusiast who many of you will recognise. We pay homage to both black and white era broadcasting and full colour in our own subtle way. We illustrated celebrity figures throughout the history of the BBC, like newscaster Arthur Burrows and Sir Patrick Moore, also John Pewtree, the original Doctor Who. The Jokers are Morecambe and Wise doing their famous whimsical skip. I have now built a set of in-house bespoke traditional court cards which I can tailor for various projects, like the one I created for the Worshipful company of tax advisors, which included court card royals interacting with various taxable goods such as glass and matchsticks. So what about my own designs? Where am I with this? Am I still making playing cards for myself? Well, the answer is yes, I am currently working on 2 brand new designs. One is a little wink to my original deck, Fishing for Compliments, but this deck pretends to be vintage tinned fish and is simply called Sardines. What is this woman's obsession with fish? Here are some previews of this deck, which is still in the design stages. But first I will be releasing a different deck, inspired by an amazing ghost town spotting road trip that me and my husband took around California. It is hard as an English lady who loves playing cards to embark on such an amazing adventure and not get inspired by the history of the gold rush and the various gambling halls of its day. I plunged into a world of 49ers, railroad magnates and dusty saloons to create The Rush. This is a deck that is dedicated to Rosa May, the hooker with a heart of gold, who nursed sick miners during a pandemic that spread through the town of Bodie, which is itself now a ghost town. The court cards in this deck depict notable members from the Gold Rush era, such as John Sutter, whose mill became the location for the discovery of the first precious nugget that inspired the entire rush. The card backs in this deck are a small tableau illustration of a ghost town that I'd created, the skeleton on horseback, cactuses and coins. The aces have individual phrases on them which relate to the era of the gold rush, like for example the ace of spades. I've written those that sold shovels because obviously the gold rush wasn't too lucrative for so many miners. However, those who chose to sell supplies such as shovels and dry goods really seemed to do quite well. My pips descend in size, going from 2 down to smaller 10s. I think this is quite a nice effect. The jacks show various railroad magnates who are responsible for connecting together the various areas of the Sierra Nevada. The queens depict saloon hearts, gunslingers, poker players, entertainers, women who really stood out in that time. And the kings depict some of the more important characters during the early stages of the gold rush, such as James Marshall, who discovered the first nugget, and John Sutter, who owned the mill where James Marshall found said nugget. So yeah, it's another educational deck, one that I've put a lot of work into researching and illustrating, and this will be available very soon. If you're interested in following the progress of these decks, then please by all means connect with me on Instagram at SquidLink and find my SquidLink YouTube channel. I'm in the process of uploading deck reviews to that channel, and I'll be providing updates for these 2 upcoming projects there. So thank you for listening. I hope you have found this interesting, and I would be thrilled to hear of any of your own playing card projects also.